Hello everyone, I hope you're all having a great day. I'm Karen Doyle, Operations Director of CTAM Europe. Thank you for joining us for today's webinar with ViacomCBS. I'm pleased to introduce Noel Taylor, VP Global Streaming Insights over at ViacomCBS. Today, we'll find out what happens when people can't talk about TV. It's going to be a great session. I've seen the video, I've seen the presentation. You're in for a treat. We're due to last around 30 minutes with time for questions at the end, so please use your Q&A button to post the questions over to Anna. As always, the recording of this presentation will be posted on the members only section of ctameurope.com. And if you're not a current member, we'd love to have you join us. So please email info@ctameurope.com for details on how to sign up. Members have access to 2 webinars a month, an annual symposium, and along with webinars and monthly podcasts from our colleagues at CTAM US. Our flagship program is the fantastic week-long executive management program, which we hold at INSEAD, which we can now thankfully say is taking place live. After 2 long COVID years, we can say it's taking place next month. I'll follow up with details on the program by email in the next day or so, and your details will also be shared with ViacomCBS, who may in turn follow up with you. So enough from me. I'll take myself off screen now and turn the stage over to Anna. Thank you.
Thank you, Karen. Hi, everyone. I'm Noel Taylor, VP of Global Streaming Insights at ViacomCBS. And a big thank you to CTAM Europe for inviting me today to present one of our most recent studies, and honestly, one of my most favorite insights projects that I've had the privilege of working on at ViacomCBS. It's our latest global adult consumer insights study called Did You Watch? The Power of Talking About TV. And in this presentation, we explore what talking about TV brings to people's lives today. I'm going to take you through the findings and then also share our thoughts on what this means for brands like us who are looking to connect with this adult audience now and in the future. And so with that, I am also going to take myself off screen so that we have a lovely video with you a little later on, and I want to make sure that's working properly. So I'm going to take myself off screen and continue on. And go to the next slide. So just a quick note about ViacomCBS. We are the company behind some of the biggest global brands, global content brands such as Nickelodeon, MTV, Comedy Central, and Paramount. We are in over 180 countries, which makes insights like you will see today so important to us in order to stay tapped into adults around the world. And here at ViacomCBS, we believe that research is an inspiration and it should be the foundation of every one of our strategies. That's not just us, the research department, saying so, but as you can see, it's also something embraced by our president and CEO, Bob Bakish. So this study today, in the challenging world we live in today, social connection really has never been a more valuable human need, and TV is a really powerful and universal facilitator for such a connection. With this in mind, we were inspired to devise a kind of social experiment where we wanted to test TV's power beyond the screen, and so we deprived people of talking about TV for almost 2 weeks. So today I'll be taking you through details of that research we conducted. I'll give you the rules that we gave our participants, outline what they missed when we deprived them of talking about TV, and then get a little bit into what really makes a TV show talkable, something we learned from the ethnographies with the respondents, and finally some key takeaways. So first, the rules and methodology, I suppose. We went into 7 countries, the US, UK, Australia, South Africa, Italy, Mexico, and Indonesia, covering 17 cities in total. We conducted global ethnographic immersions in 24 households, from young adults to multi-generational families, capturing hours of amazing footage that was collected through an innovative app that's specifically developed for this type of research. So the rule, when we say we deprive people from talking about TV, we mean talking about all kinds of TV and all types of TV content. So content on linear TV, live TV channels, content on demand through streaming services. Participants were banned from talking about content directly or consuming any content that talked about content. So that's like podcasts, movie trailers, websites. So we put a stop to all conversations, both in person and online. So things that ordinarily occur face-to-face while watching, the banter, chatting that happens while you're watching a show, or face-to-face conversations away from the TV. And finally, it also encompassed conversations on social media or Messenger. Sometimes people like to share memes and GIFs, which we get a bit later on. They couldn't do that. They could watch TV. They just couldn't talk about TV. And so it became very clear the extent to which TV talk is a full 360 experience, which reaches into every corner of life, well beyond the couch that people are sitting on in their living room. And these are just a few examples that came from our participants of when they wanted to talk about TV during the research, but couldn't. And so this really shows that how prominent and deeply entrenched talking about TV is within the fabric of everyday interaction. And Carlos from Mexico put it so well when he says, TV keeps us connected, it's so current, it's a main topic worldwide, and TV helps me empathize with other people and gives me a topic for conversation. He hits on multiple points, which we get a little bit more into later on. But how did they feel? I mean, they felt they didn't love it. They found it really, really hard not to talk about TV. And so hard, they used some really kind of beautifully powerful imagery in their language when discussing how they felt. I love Eva from Mexico. I love her quote where she makes a comparison to the tarot card of the blindfolded woman, the two of spades, saying that's how she felt during this exercise. Stefano from Italy said he felt censored or straitjacket. Oscar in the US said it was like going to a theater and you're the only person there, like, what's the point? Alina from South Africa said that her sister told her that she's acting so strange, she seems like a ghost, like she's sitting next to a stranger, because TV was so much a part of their relationship. And Audrey from Indonesia said that it's like she's living in a household where everyone's silent with no voice. And someone even described it as like a lump in their throat that they couldn't get out. And so people found ways to cope. Some just avoided completely. They deleted Instagram, went into another room, ran away, which you'll hear a little bit in the video. Some found alternatives. They listened to lectures or visited the theater. Some just stopped watching TV. Like, they didn't need to, but they said, well, what's the point of watching TV if I can't talk about TV? And then, of course, many people cheated. They even took tabs on the people in their household who cheated if their household was participating in the exercise. And some even used the videos they would send us to talk about the research. They would use that as an opportunity to tell the story that they wanted to say to their friend, but couldn't say to their friends, so they would tell us in the video. And we already knew that from past studies that ViacomCBS has done, watching TV is rewarding, but this study showed us with great clarity and depth that talking about TV enhances those benefits and really takes them to a new level. So to hear the experience, not just from me, but from our respondents directly, we have a 5-minute video of their diary and interviews. I'm going to share that with you right now. But it might, because it's through Zoom, it might come through a bit choppy. So at the very end of the presentation, I'm also going to share our Insights blog where you can rewatch the video at your convenience. And in the meantime, I am pleased to present our participants.
TV is an intimate powerful and universal source of connection to others. Regardless of how you watch, whether that's regular TV or through on-demand services, talking about our favourite shows and movies brings us closer to people, near and far. So what would happen if we couldn't talk about it? To explore this question, we recruited 24 households in 7 countries around the world. For almost 2 weeks, there was one rule. They could not talk about TV. That meant a stop to conversations about TV in the home or with friends. And it went further. There would be no following anything related to TV on social media, no reading blogs about TV, and no listening to podcasts about TV content. People were free to watch TV as much as they liked, but they had to keep it to themselves.
I went to the park to chill with my friends, and one of them tried to talk to me about this show, and I literally just looked at him and ran. Literally, that has been one of my things to do. I've run.
Come potete vedere, sono salita immediatamente a casa perché ero giù con le mie amiche e praticamente stiamo parlando di serie TV e quant'altro.
This was a lot harder than they expected, and many struggled. It made them feel trapped, weird, burdened. It was so difficult, in fact, that there were a few slip-ups and cheats along the way.
I feel like I'm getting gray hairs from not being able to talk about TV. Currently feeling deprived, alone in my little world.
It is really, really awkward that I can't talk to people about watching a TV show. I can't even say anything. Yeah, I think it's getting to me now, but I'm trying to control my emotions. I'm like, how come I sounding too agitated?
I can't talk to her about it, and it's killing me.
Ini dia. Kalau tidak membicarakan soal TV, perasaannya akan yang gitu. Gemes banget dong yang pasti. Gemes dalam artian aduh please gitu. Susah banget deh. Itu benar-benar rasanya
I really felt like there was a huge lump sitting here while watching a specific movie, and I felt like I had to take it out and talk about it really bad or express myself about that movie or scene.
We already know that watching TV is rewarding, but this study showed us that talking about TV enhances those benefits and takes them to a new level. Talking about TV brings us joy. It helps us grow, it grounds us, and it connects us. The first benefit we uncovered is the sheer joy of talking about TV, which can bring as much delight as watching it.
Brings up a good conversation or brings up a good subject to talk about. So really good conversation starter and really good just if you want some laughs and you want to chill out and feel better.
I feel like a big part of like watching a show is the discussions you have and the theories you make and like the speculation and like the commentary, you know, and the banter when you watch it with friends.
Talking about TV helps us grow by building knowledge, understanding, and skills.
One of the things I love most about watching this kind of stuff with Jack is that he always has the historical facts in his mind to share with me while we're watching or after we're watching. It's really seeing how much he enjoys it and sharing all of the information he knows about the particular subject matter always adds an extra element to those shows or movies for me.
Cuando vemos televisión realmente compartimos un momento muy agradable, porque a pesar de que estamos, digamos, viendo la televisión, en algún inter o en alguna pausa que hacemos, comentamos lo che sta passando e lo applicamos muchas veces a nuestra vida.
Io credo che parlare di TV sia importante perché ti confronti con altre persone e che hanno delle visioni magari diverse dalle tue.
Talking about TV grounds us by making us feel safe, feel stronger as a person, or feel truly at home.
It's an easy conversation to have. It's just something that you don't really have to think about it. You don't have to go back and think if what you said was right or if that person misinterpreted it. It's just very easy conversation.
Terjalin baik antara hubungan aku dengan temanku, hubungan aku dengan keluarga aku menjadi lebih akrab karena ada topik yang dibicarakan yang seru dan mengandung emosi juga.
Talking about TV connects us with people like us and helps us meet new friends.
Talking about TV makes me feel like I'm part of a community.
Brings people together, common ground. We relate to each other. We are the same.
More ammo in conversation, it can keep conversation going, adds into conversation, can really create like camaraderie through similarities on similar watch shows, especially on exciting ones, seeing their point of view, discussing about it, getting exciting about it.
Life without conversations about TV was difficult and lonely, and it was a great relief to get talking again. There is real power in talking TV, and we're not going to stop.
It kind of just like goes against like human nature. I was just like wanting to talk about shows you watch and stuff.
All right, looks like I still have all of you. So hopefully that means the video went through and you were able to hear from our lovely participants. And as you just heard from them talking about TV and something we learned was it really enhances the benefits of TV and takes them to a new level. So the video highlighted 4 key areas: joy, growth, grounding, and connection. And we'll be taking you through these 4 key, or I'll be taking you through these 4 key details and what they mean and why they're so important in people's lives. So the first is joy. We can all agree that everyday life can be dull and difficult, at least for some, and we need something to lift us up. Talking about TV elevates life by giving people joy. And what that means, so people get so much joy from feeling like they're taking part in the TV they're watching and having a laugh with it. So this is stuff like guessing and playing along with whatever's on TV, following the story, either asking others while or during, talking to others like what you think is going on in the story, or even doing online research afterwards to understand what's happening, what's going on behind the scenes, or maybe the history behind something, figuring out who done it. So as Carly from Australia puts it, blanking the blank out of it, which she says in using rather colorful language. Really, it's about how people love to make fun or hurl abuse at the characters you love to hate on TV. Sharing jokes, this could be receiving or sharing hilarious memes or GIFs, or as Katerina from the US says, memes about TV shows are just hilarious. They're like the modern day knock knock joke. TV also brings a kind of a genuine joy of going deeper into the content. This was things like celebrating the creativity behind the show, the thrill of debate, indulging that frustrated TV critic in all of us, and also fan theory, which Liam in the UK explains it's that geek side of him that likes to look behind the curtain. And TV isn't just about fun. Our respondents also realize that they benefit from the conversations for their own personal growth and development. Talking about TV helps people grow. And it's a great way to grow through learning and through new ideas. Parents use it to teach their kids, but we're not just talking about those classically educational content things. But it's all sorts of TV, from cartoons to even cop shows, which can be used for vital life lessons. Priya in Australia describes watching and talking about SWAT with her son to teach him a few life lessons about helping people. Adults learn too from talking about TV or doing that online research after watching a show. And it also helps to nourish their existing interests and passions. And it also helps people grow by widening and broadening their perspectives on life. Hearing other people's point of view is really helpful in doing that. And we heard from Sabrina in Italy, who talked about how reading posts from people who live in other places and may think differently helped make her feel like she was getting more out of the content and felt her broadening her understandings. So discussions about TV help people grow within society by breaking down barriers and bridging understanding. And the third sort of area is grounding. And again, it's clear we live in turbulent and unpredictable times. And in a way, even conversations have become a potential minefield. Talking about TV does help to ground people, and that came through really strongly in the research. A key part of this was really how it makes people feel safe and at home in a lot of different ways. It's a safe space. It's a fail-safe topic of discussion, away from any potential political disagreement or personal judgment. Priya in Australia talks about how she doesn't like to gossip, but when you're talking about a TV show or people in a TV show, it doesn't feel like gossiping because it's not real. And then Vanessa in the US talks about how talking about TV is like Switzerland. It's a neutral territory that you can go to if you don't have another topic to talk about. There's also real comfort in nostalgia. So recalling TV shows you watched in the past can be really comforting and grounding. This was especially true for the younger adults of our respondents who they kind of left home more recently, got their own place more recently, and they felt kind of rootless out in the big world. And that nostalgia and bonding was more grounding for them. And it's also just a great way to bond with your loved ones. And going much deeper, there's also a fascinating way in which talking about TV can actually make people feel emotionally stronger. This is specifically important when you're watching a show that may touch on personal issues or issues that feel personal, or traumas that might be stirred up by things that happen in TV shows. And it's just a way to heal yourself as you're talking through those topics with the safety of the show and the story of the show to help you process something that's more personal. And finally, last section, last category, we come to connection. In so many ways, modern life can make us all feel a little isolated from each other. Talking about TV connects us to each other. It creates a sense of community, feeling accepted. It helps you forge social identities, either finding it through a community of shared interests. For some, it's not just being a community of interest, but becoming the leader in it, or being the go-to expert like Liam in the UK claims he is. And talking about TV is also a powerful tool for meeting new people. It's a great way to break the ice. As we all know, we often use it at the start of many of these Zoom calls, and it can bridge gaps with people you might not otherwise have much in common with. And finally, it helps to make you feel like you're part of something bigger. And there was recently a BBC program highlighted a story about Lou Macari, a famous footballer. He runs a homeless shelter where everyone was given their own pod to live in due to COVID restrictions, and LG donated a TV for each pod. And according to Lou, the TV was the single most transformative thing for the residents and their mental well-being. So for people who previously lived on the streets, they now have not just entertainment, but more importantly, they are connected to the wider world and have something to talk about and connect with others. It was just such a great example of the power of talking about TV. So finally, we get a bit into what we learned about what makes a show talkable. And really, based on our respondents' reactions to the deprivation, it was clear that talkable TV, and the TV they found most talkable and missed the most, was TV that makes people feel, think, rethink, and belong. So talkable TV makes us feel because it's emotional, it's moving, relatable, exciting. Also, it's high quality, so it gives you just a pleasure to watch, and it's really well made. Talkable TV makes us think, so it's interesting, informative, sparks curiosity, or maybe it's substantial in some way. It's dense, complex. In brief, there's just a lot to get your teeth into, and talking is really key to that. Talkable TV makes you rethink. So maybe it's disruptive, it's pushing the envelope, it's challenging preconceptions, or it's personal and very relevant to us. And finally, talkable TV helps us feel like we belong, either to a very specific targeted group or culture, and being an authentic representation of that culture, or on the flip side, just being universal, a popular, trending now, maybe a well-known classic, but relatable to everyone. And what was kind of surprising for us is that it didn't, like, you know, you might think maybe drama is something that comes to mind when you think about Talkable TV, but it really wasn't a specific genre, and many genres actually tap into every single one of these 4 Talkable TV things. I'm going to take horror, for example. Horror was something that came up quite a bit in the research, making people feel, of course, scared, thrilled, unsettled, makes them think about what would you do in that situation, makes them rethink maybe your faith, your primal fears, and also gives a sense of belonging because everyone around you is just as scared as you are. Another surprising genre was reality TV that came up and really hit strongly on each of these 4 areas, and comedies too. Comedies were really big in touching on all 4 of these areas. So in summary, the power of content to hook audiences is as strong as ever. You give people a reason to engage and they will happily immerse themselves in TV talk in its broadest definitions. TV talk is a full 360 experience. Talking about content is deeply entrenched within the fabric of everyday interactions, and it reaches far beyond the couch and to all corners of your life. Talking about TV enhances TV's benefits. It brings us joy, helps us grow, grounds us, and connects us. And finally, TV becomes talkable when it makes us feel, think, rethink, and belong. So I'm going to leave you with Alicia's quote from the US, which sums this up so well, where she said, "Talking about TV makes the world go round." So life without conversations about TV was really difficult and lonely for our respondents, and it was a great relief for them to get talking again. So thank you so much for spending the this past half hour with me. Here's a link I promised. It's the URL with the text below that to this specific video that I shared in case you want to go back and have a look. And with just a few more minutes left, I'm happy to take any questions that you might have. I'll turn my camera back on.
Thanks, Anna. That was fascinating. Really, really interesting to read. I loved the bit, well, I loved it all, but I really loved as well how LG sponsored the TVs in the pods. How fabulous.
I know. That was something we came across, and yeah, it was just such a perfect example of this research and what made this research so powerful. Yeah. I really love it.
It was a brilliant report. Well done. It was really good. Now, I've got a couple of questions here. Richard says, "This was really great. Thank you, Anna. Do the benefits of talking about TV differ significantly according to the types of content they consume, such as news, lifestyle, sport, comedy, and music?"
So to answer that most broadly, it was surprising how the genres or the types of content they're consuming didn't necessarily fit neatly into any silo. Kind of what I got to later on, they really did seem to cross over many silos. So even our consumers who were passionate about news can really is something that they want to talk about and maybe brings them joy, helps them stay connected. So I think that, yes, in a way, it did skew a little bit where that fell within the bucket, but I was surprised by how much it didn't. And it really was about the content and the type of content that they personally were passionate about. And then these benefits came through no matter what that type of content was.
And I think as well, you know who to speak about which genre with, don't you? I know my husband knows not to speak about politics or the news with me because it's just not my thing. So he would choose to speak to one of his friends about this, and you choose who to speak to about which genre that you're into, I suppose.
Yeah, for sure. Especially if you're looking for a safe topic.
Yes, that's true. Now, will there be a follow-up study? And if so, when do you think there may be?
So we tend to do, so great question. We tend to do a study about every year or every other year that is within the media space. I believe Christian Kurz, my boss, has presented quite a few of those here at CTAM Europe. And so, yes, we plan to definitely do a kind of thought leadership type project within the TV and media landscape space. If not this year, next. Will there be a follow-up to this particular one? This was actually a follow-up to a deprivation where we deprive people of watching a TV.
Right.
And the topic came up of, well, we learned a whole bunch from that study. What would it be like if we let them watch TV, but deprive them from talking about TV? So who knows what we'll deprive them of next, but there will certainly be a follow-up.
The next one, they'll be sat with blindfolds on. You won't be able to see it, but you'll be able to hear it.
Oh, that's great. I love it. I might steal that.
Yeah. Now, last question, unless anybody else posts any. What was the most interesting or surprising finding, do you think, from the report?
I think the most surprising for me personally was how connected talking about TV is to the benefits of TV, because we study consistently. We'll do kind of content need states and really understanding the benefits that TV content brings to people's lives. What I was so surprised at was how connected talking about TV was to it's the same benefits.
Yeah.
It just is enhancing those benefits. And there's this need to talk about it in order to feel the benefits that TV itself brings to people. So I think for me, that was the most interesting and surprising finding.
Yeah. Yeah. Excellent. I wouldn't have liked to have had to do this report though, or do the silence during lockdown. Can you imagine not being able to speak about TV during lockdown? People would have gone crazy then.
No, absolutely.
That would have been too cruel, I think, to do to anybody.
Yeah. Too cruel. It was already really cruel. Respondents, they weren't happy.
No. Right. Well, thank you. If anybody else has any questions, we can always, Anna's details are on the bottom there. Or are they? Yes, Anna's details are on there. And I'll follow up with, as I say, with all the INSEAD info, and I'll put this post on there as well so you can check out the video, which did really work well just then anyway.
Oh, good. That's great to hear.
Really well.
Good.
So yes, thank you once again. Everyone, thanks for joining. And we've got our next webinar in 2 weeks on the 16th. So thanks, Anna. Thank you, everyone. Enjoy your day.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.